Okay, who are they going to introduce themselves?
Hi everyone, welcome to the assembly. Thank you so much for being here on a Saturday. Before we begin, I'd like to give an introduction to the assembly, and then Asif will give an introduction to our speakers. This week we have two. So the assembly, we are a smart lab and we're a makerspace that's based out of In5. For the past 8 years, we've had over 350 workshops, and we are focusing on a mission of building a collaborative tech community in Dubai. So the workshops that we have are of different categories. The main three are Hack, which focuses on embedded systems like IoT and the usage of hardware devices such as the Raspberry Pi and Arduino. For these workshops, we provide you with the hardware and you guys can work along with us. Then we have code workshops that focus on software, where we work with APIs, frameworks, and apps. And for these workshops, you would need to bring your computer so you could code along with us. And lastly, we have data science workshops that focus on artificial intelligence and machine learning. But overall, our topics cover IoT, robotics, 3D printing, AR, VR, cloud computing, and so much more. Our audience members are students, they're entrepreneurs, they're professionals. You come here to learn something new, build something new, or improve on your already existing knowledge. Now you can find us on our social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us at our mission statement, Make Smart Things. And you can also find these sessions on YouTube. We live stream them. And you can also see them on our website at theassembly.ae. So without further ado, please welcome Asif, who will introduce you to our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaya. My name's Asif. So I'm going to introduce you to Rishabh, Rishabh Java, the founder and CEO of Paisa, an app delivering financial security to the masses. He has built many companies such as Tangle, ACS, and Kidstarter. Rishabh is a serial inventor and builder who won over 50 international and national hackathons and competitions. He has a CS and a business major in Minerva University, the world's most selective undergraduate degree. And we also have Sami Mustafa, founder and CMO of Paisa, a fintech app bringing financial security to the masses. He is the former CEO of Dream Maker, a Web3 gamified project powered by Sanctum Global Ventures. Sami is an experienced content producer at the Universal Music Artists, NBA players and trainers, and MENA's top athletes and influencer. He was mentored by top C-suites executives in the MENA region. Thank you.
I guess we could start off by saying thank you guys for having us here. It's a great day to be at the assembly.
Thank you for the introduction as well. I think that was lovely.
Yeah, it was.
So I think we can get started with a little beyond what we originally planned to start. So, before we start, just so I have a better idea of the demographic we are. Do you guys know what MD means?
Of course.
Okay, just making sure, right?
So this is sort of the problem with building or running a startup. Right? If you want to start with the sort of problem that we're trying to tackle or understand, is there is no actual secret to like successfully running a company. Right? That's why like 90% or even 99% of startups fail. Most of them don't make it past idea stage, then most of them either don't get funded or never actually launch a product. So there's like so there are things that we can do to like do better, but it's not. But there is no sort of formula that's going to make like 100% sure that what you're building is going to be successful, right? So what we're here to do today essentially is try and break down some of the things that we've learned through experience that have helped us in like the projects that we worked in the past and the ventures that we've been involved with, and share them more to like the perspective of someone young, because I feel the experience is much different from for someone who's like 50, 60, is like a lot of corporate experience trying to build a startup. I feel they have a very different experience from someone that's like 20, 21, trying to build a business. And we just want to share what our perspective is and what our experience has been from that sort of frame of reference. All right, so but before we get started, just for a quick overview of what we'll be talking about. Now, I think there've been like a lot of workshops where people come on and they talk about like, maybe storytelling, how to design a pitch deck, how to, maybe make a business model canvas. Have you guys attended any of those? I mean, maybe you'll have at some point, right? Like those, I feel in many ways those have become like sort of generic content, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I told Sami like, yeah, we could go on and like talk about venture building is like these sort of templates that you fill out, but like that's not how it works in the real world, and like that's really, I didn't think that was really going to bring people value. So what we wanted to do instead was like just come up and like first I feel learn how we can be creative, because a very important part of building anything is ideating, right? Like finding a problem that's worth solving and then finding a solution for that problem. And to find a good solution, you need to be creative. I think that's important. And a lot of us, because of school or because of the environment we grew up in, like we have this sort of fear associated with being creative, because being creative means you're more likely to be wrong, right? And that is what we want to try and change. And I wanted to do that by conducting like a sort of exercise within the group where we're sort of going to break up into groups, and I'll explain what we do as well, and like we're going to break up in these groups and do a sort of creativity exercise, and then we're going to come back together and then see how that connects to the whole venture building and like building startups process. Now, but before we start, let's just do like a more sort of formal introduction. Let Sami introduce himself first.
Sure.
Do you want to use the? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so hi guys, my name is Sami Mustafa. I am the former CEO of Dreams Maker, which is a Web3 GameFi project powered by Sanctum Global Ventures here in DIFC. I was a content producer for some of Mina's top influencers. Rishabh, if you could play that video for me, that would be fantastic. This is just a quick reel, a little trailer that we did for a show that I put together about a couple of years ago. It doesn't need sound, it's fine. It's okay, the sound isn't important. But anyways, it's just a brief thing. So this is Yara Isa, she's a makeup creator. This is Danny Aridi, he's a universal music artist. This is Vinik, who is also a musician here in the UAE. This is Hamoud and Yusuf Al Sawan, who are both professional basketball players here in the UAE. So Yellow Lines was a show I got to put together at a company called Hold Media. And this opportunity came about because, Rishabh's talking a lot about creativity and creativity within business. I think a lot of people get lost in the numbers. A lot of people get lost in structuring a business. A lot of people get lost in developing a business model, running after investors, running after all of these different things, but they lose the creativity. And I think what I love about Yellow Lines was I found a company that believed in my creative side. And they said, Sami, we want to help market our business, but we also believe in what you can create. So we want you to put together a show. You write it, we'll produce it with you, and you host it. And it can be whatever you want. So I said, well, what's the best thing? What's something that means a lot to me? But I can also help this business grow and help this company achieve what they want to achieve. So I put together a show that gave young creatives in the UAE a platform to show who they are and have a little interview, let people get to know them, and just give a little performance of what they actually do. If they're a singer, they sing a song. If they're a basketball player, they play basketball. So it was a really cool experience, and I wanted to share that. And then as well now, I am currently the Chief Marketing Officer at Paisa with Rishabh. Chief, there we go. But yeah, so Paisa has been a really great experience so far. We've been going for a couple months now, and I think it's been really great. I think if you were to check out any of our channels, any of our stuff online, you'd really see that I think Paisa really embodies what a Gen Z company, really should be, and I think it embodies what the future lies for people from this generation and young founders in general, whether they're a couple of years older or a couple of years younger. I think there's a lot of opportunity for everyone to grow in any industry in the world. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, I'm going to introduce myself briefly as well, but I think I want to do more like of a show and not just tell. But because like I have like a bunch of pictures that I put in the slides and like some videos as well of like projects that I've worked on. Now, but in a nutshell, I like to make things. I think I started making things when I was super young. I was like I think 7 when I got into like electronics after watching like a movie on robots. I was like, okay, I want to build robots now. And then whatever resources I had around me, scrap parts, started to build things and moved on to Lego robots then. And then we moved here from India and like my school in 3D printers. And then I started working on like more ambitious projects with like 3D printers, microcontrollers, build prosthetics and like humanoid robots and all of that. And then later I got into the startup space where I built my first startup, which is Broccoli Brains. We did like some crowdfunding for it. It got rebranded as Aces. We were awarded by Steve Wozniak. Almost got into Y Combinator. Like did like a bunch of stuff around that startup, and but then like it failed because there were some problems with the team, and I can get into that later. And I think apart from that, I was working as a venture architect for a venture studio based out of UAE for the past year, and there I got to lead 3 of their startups. One of them was even co-owned by His Highness Sheikh Qasmi of Sharjah, and like leading one of his companies. That was Teach. So that's one that's still active. The other one was called Kidstarter, which got acquired recently. And I was also building an edtech platform called Tangled, which I exited right after the pandemic because I wanted to go to university. Yeah, but like I was saying, I'm primarily a techie. I really like making things, and I started by I think this was one of the first serious projects that I worked on. It was a prosthetic arm. I want to show you all the videos. I'm gonna take a second to oops. Yeah, 1 second. I'm just gonna.
As everyone who's watching online and everyone here can tell, Rishabh is very proud of himself.
Yeah. That's really. Thanks, Sami. You're all coming tomorrow? What? Hopefully today. There you go. It's slideshow.
Okay, we just skip ahead. Okay, this is a very, this is me as like, I don't know, I was 14, 15.
My name is Rishabh Java, and I take pride in presenting the low-cost, mind-controlled bionic arm.
So this is like a 3D printed prosthetic arm. You could use like brainwaves or like voice commands to control it, and it was like
The other replacement for like prosthetics that otherwise cost like thousands and $1,000s. Also, funny story about this video. This is not my voice. My school was like, you don't sound old enough for this video, and we want to make it professional, so they got a senior of mine to voice over. So, but yeah. So this is I think one of the projects. This was supposed to be more of like a. I forgot to insert the picture. Like an evolution of what the arm looked like a year later. But then after this, I presented that at a few competitions, got some prize money, sort of reinvested in this humanoid robot. I think I spent a year making him. Again, like completely 3D printed. And like, he could talk like 7 languages. His arms could like, this is an early phase, very not smooth. I don't think you've seen this. Haven't. So yeah, you could like follow voice commands and like you have like Xbox Kinect sensor. You could use that to like control it. Okay, he just followed voice commands. So this is like sort of the progression that I wanted to show with the arm too, where like there was the first version which was quite scrappy, and then there was the second version which was more cosmetic, had like was solving an actual problem. This was like a robot receptionist, and then the third version which was solving, I think, a bigger problem where you could like use this as a replacement for humans in like life-threatening or otherwise dangerous tasks. And then, you had like a VR headset so you could see through the robot's eyes and then control his arms. So it was like a virtual presence robot. And there was that sort of progression from something that was like not very pretty looking to something that actually had utility. And after that, we had like a range of mind control toys. Broccoli Brains, which was like the first startup. What we were doing was, there's a prosthetic arm. I said you could use brainwaves to control it. It was like a similar technology that was being used to control like drones and like guided train cars basically. And the first workshop I conducted at Assembly, I don't think any of you guys attended, but it was about like how do you make mind control toys. But that was like 3 years ago. So it was like basically the headset would like read brainwaves, and then when I would focus, the thing would like stop moving, and then stop focusing, it would stop moving. So it was like it started as something that was like super gimmicky, but then like oh okay, I guess it's not updated because I put in these pictures. So laptop. Okay. Anyways, we started with like building Broccoli Brains with the mind control toys, and then we progressed to a startup called Aces, which was you can say like a reiteration of what we were doing. So there was similar technology, but we were solving again like a bigger problem. So Aces, we were making like mind reading headphones. So instead of just headbands, these were now headphones that could track productivity of like people throughout the day. So like say you're working a desk job, you want to know what time of the day your brain's most alert. You just listen to music, go on with your day usually, but at the end of the day you get like a report. So then your calendar adjusts the next day with like, okay, if you want to focus better, do these tasks at this time of the day and these tasks at the other time. So we sort of pivoted and did that instead. Now, what I was trying to get to with like all of these projects was they all sort of followed a process where we started with understanding maybe a small problem that we're trying to tackle, defining the problem so we have like a better understanding of it, and then coming up with like some potential like technology-based solution for it, and then building a prototype, testing it, and then seeing how, okay, no, this works, this does not work, this is what people like, people don't like, going back and redoing that again. So like the next version is prettier or like has more features that is solving like a bigger problem. Right? So this is like a very standard process that was followed through all of these projects that I was building, and it almost duplicates itself into the startup ecosystem. I think when you're building any tech, maybe even non-tech company, something that's very important is first understanding the problem that you're trying to solve. Because if you're not going to do that, you're just going to become something that's called a CISPA. So you're going to become a solution in search of a problem, and you're just not going to go anywhere with the product if you are not solving an actual problem. So the step one is always to empathize with the people and then do the rest of it, right? But today I want to focus more on like the third step. I want to like turn this into sort of a short workshop where we come up with ideas and see the importance of creativity first. And by the end of this, I'll try to give you like 3 key steps to like help you become more creative and practice creativity more actively. And this is another meme. So this is how people think startups are versus how they actually. Okay, so now here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pass around these notebooks.
Just in advance, we aren't calling anybody stupid. It is just the stupidest idea. We're
Sorry? Yeah. Do you want to do it, John? But you got to draw. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. There you go. Do you want a notepad as well? No, I'll get you a notepad. It's okay. There you go.
more of an icebreaker. But as we're not in groups and we're a small enough group to for this to be more individual, we're just going to skip through the icebreaker. So this is what we kind of want to see by the end of this activity. I'm going to give you I think about 5 minutes to just draw the stupidest product idea you can think of, right? Let me see if I have any reference picture. Yeah, like that, like square watermelons, right? Like something that does not have any real utility in your mind. But the condition is you cannot write anything on the paper, right? You just have to draw something that in your head is a very stupid product idea. Okay, the stupider the better, basically. But you do not write anything and don't discuss it. This is the group you would, but Sami, do you want to do it as well? Yes, you can get a notepad. Also, just for inspiration, something like this, you could just draw something that makes it's no real use, just maybe looks cool or something. Right? Sami, you can sit down, bro. Okay.
This is probably the worst drawing I've ever done in my life.
That's good. You see, this is actually a challenge. It is? No, look at the.
What are you trying to tell me?
Okay, so let's do a minute and 30 seconds more. Are you done? Got something?
I'm still thinking.
Okay. Just don't overthink it. Whatever you think is true. How about you? Did you get something?
I thought of so many. Should try to create an e-commerce site. Sell all these products.
Okay.
Call it stupid things.
Like Craigslist.
Exactly like Craigslist, but for stupid products.
That is great. Yeah. Oh.
The camera pulls your
Okay, you good? Yeah. You get something? Okay. Done on that. Okay. So, has everybody got something? You got something? You got something? Okay, awesome. Okay. Yours. And it's all done.
So for those who can't see, Rishabh is currently swapping the designs with everybody. Oh my God. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you can get it.
Okay, and yeah, this is yours. We need to do some more shit. Sami, I gave mine. Oh, I can't get it. You don't do it. It's not. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so now all of you guys have someone else's drawing, right? Okay, I'm going to give you another 5 minutes to come up with a sales pitch for what you see. So you have to come up with a problem that the drawing is solving, and why the drawing is a solution to the problem in the next 5 minutes. With the drawing that you now have, not yours, but the one that you have. Yeah. No, you're going to present it. So like within like a minute. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you think it is. That's the point of it. That it is what you think it is. With everyone. So whatever you think the drawing is, come up with a sales pitch. I have no idea. Don't tell me. You can't tell me. Yep. I got to move once. You'll have time. You've got to think of a sales pitch for what you have. It's like maybe identify like a problem that you think the drawing is solving and a solution for it. Why the drawing is a solution. Oh, this is literally you guys right now when you see someone else's drawing.
Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, if you were committed to me after this, it could be genius. I have no idea. But, oh, you want to see? Yeah. I won't say that.
Yeah, okay. I'll stay here. Okay.
Is it the top one or the bottom? It's the top. The top one. No. Like the square or the one
You
like
can clarify.
this one? Or this one? The bottom. I was hoping for the top. I'm just gonna say it's a boat.
It's not a
Looks like an easy way out.
Look, there are no right answers. Whatever you think it is.
Honestly, I thought that right now. But if you can get it.
I don't think I get one. I think well, I
So we go into things that only you would know. Sorry? It's matter. I think, yeah. Yeah. Okay. When you get ready, just let me know. Maybe we ready. You ready? Okay. How about you? Yeah. No, I'll give you some. Yeah. I'll give you like 2 more minutes. Figure it out. You ready? How about you?
Yeah.
We can actually. Yeah. And are you ready? Okay. So come up with the drawing. We show everyone the drawing, and then you can present it. Okay, so we know what we're working with here. So, how far? You guys see this from here? Yeah, and then come to the mic. So, do you see this? And then come to the mic. Yeah.
Okay, you guys watch Cyberpunk? It's basically that. It's like HoloLive. So you have this headset that you wear. You're ever in a situation where you have a really cool dream, you don't remember anything about it, and then you never like see it ever again. So this little handy device right here, definitely no like breach of privacy. Don't worry about that. So like you put it onto your face, into your eyes. Then you turn on the little device here. There's a little wire. You probably saw it before. You go to sleep and it records your entire dream. You can watch it later. What? So, what you're probably going to see is a like mess of like gibberish images because that's what your dreams are. But then like we're going to sell it to you anyways because it sounds cool, and that's my pitch.
Every Web3 company ever. Everybody's selling NFTs. It's not gonna work, but we're gonna sell it to you anyway. It sounds good. Okay, do you want to come up next? Okay. Are you ready as well? Okay. So you.
Here's the drawing. Can you see it? Yeah? All right. So, who in here is a musician? Playing any instruments? Okay, so we got a few. And then the people that don't, do you have friends that play instruments? So one of the problems with playing instruments is that you practice for hours and hours until you're so tired, and then you suddenly realize that you haven't ate anything, you haven't drank anything. And that's a problem. Because no matter what instrument you play, you get really thirsty. Now, our solution to that is adding like these straws to your instruments that give you water or juice, anything you want. And you can't spill it. For example, say you're playing a cello, right? You have a straw that goes directly inside your mouth. You're just playing, drinking your water. Now, say you have a violin. It's not very comfortable to play, right? What if you spill something? But the straw goes directly inside your mouth. Now, no matter how you flip it, it's actually very secure. It won't let anything spill, so you can practice for hours without worrying that the water or the juice will get into your instrument. That is our device. And yes.
So what about in the case where you have a musical device that already has a straw, like a trombone? Like in that case,
See, that is a good question. What this does is it allows you to add a second straw. So you have your trombone, and it's like, you know, when you're kids and you play around with drinking from two straws at once? That's exactly how it's going to be. So you have your playing like straw, and then you have your drinking straw. So it's a 2-in-1, really. Very efficient.
you activate it with a button on it.
Exactly. A button that opens it up, and in fact, there's a modification to this product which shoots the water at you. So it's like, you know, the spray for plants. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm selling this product. This is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Sorry, Mita, I have to leave. Okay, that was the product. Thank you.
Hey, do you want to come up? Okay, wait, show the drawing to the camera. Yeah. A little closer. Yeah.
All right, so this, it's lightweight, it's very convenient, it's on your body, it's portable, there's no plastic, it's a virtual pencil. You can take notes securely in VR, you can draw anytime. As bonus, it also tracks your mood. Going now for $10.99. VR pen.
Do you want to go next? Come on. It's a pretty problem. Jack, you've got to go for more than 99.
This right here is our audience. Okay, no. Okay, this right here. Well, before I even get into this product, do you guys drink water? All right, everyone here drinks water? What? All right. You guys drink like soda, juice? All right. So, would it be fair to say that on a daily basis you would use a bottle, plastic bottle, a glass bottle? Cool, right? Makes sense. So what we have here is called the handy bottle, right? And what this is when you're drinking from a bottle, and when you get to the last few kind of like drops, and you just have to like hold the bottle just up in the air to get the last few drops. So what this does is, instead of holding the bottle like this and going, completely vertical, what you do is you actually just hold the tip right here, and you can just tip it with your two fingers and get everything, in one go. So when you're walking down the street, it prevents safety hazards. When you're walking down the street, if you do this, you can bump into something that seeing, right? So what this does is move ahead. Now, and even bigger pro to this is that it's completely recyclable. So, for example, when you take the bottles on the recycling truck and you just have to crush them and then put them in, what this does is that actually each bottle fits in with the other. So our plan is to mass produce this and have it so that we can put the bottles all into a puzzle and just flatten it. That way we can recycle more in a more cost efficient manner, and save the environment. So yeah, go ahead. Straws. You read about them too? They're a major disruptor in the industry, but we're working on it. But as of right now, it's for $1.99. So recyclables, reusable. ABD or yours? Paisa. All right, that's all. So, like Sami was saying, he is our I pay Do you want to go up next? Okay. All right. This is the flutter faucet.
So, what is the Flutter faucet? A lot of people come to me, they ask me, they say, Sammy, I heard you launch this Fortune 500 company called Flutter Faucet. And I just say, yeah, it's really simple. You got a faucet with wings. So what does that mean? They're like, what, your faucet flies around the bathroom? No, your faucet does not fly around the bathroom. A lot of people, they're buying different shower heads. Some people don't have a shower head. Some people just have a bath. Some people have a shower and no bath. What Flutter Faucet does for people, for homeowners, for people, who have their own bathroom, who have a house that, they can tamper with and they can take out different items. Flutter Faucet allows you to have one singular faucet. With the motion of your hand, it will go up or down. And with the turn of your hand, the release of the water, the disbursement of it, will change. So if you would like to take a shower, Flutter Faucet up, and it flutters its wings up, and turn the shower mode on, disperses the water. If you want to take a bath, Flutter Faucet down, bath time. That's it. Flutter Faucet is available on all e-commerce sites, available now on Amazon for $15.99. Call 800-255-332 and get yourself the Flutter Faucet today.
Did we come next? Sorry, that was more commercial than So we will take it. Good stuff.
So this product is basically a basic kitchen appliance like a cutting board, but it has a unique feature where once when you, like, there's always these like onion skins or carrot skins, some or potato skins, it's always there, right? So the cutting board basically has a mechanism where you just slide it out, as you can see right here. You push all those junk out, and it just makes it more convenient. Instead, you just put your hand and it gets all nasty. So it's $5.99 in Amazon.
Thank you. As a survey, how many people would actually use what you made?
Yeah, 100%.
What about the flying faucet?
Flutter.
Okay, sorry. Flutter faucet. How many people would want the flutter faucet? Okay, you got the customer. Not too many.
Oh, really?
No, we don't actually. You can walk across. So, do you want to come up next? No, come on. Whatever you got. Okay.
All right. So is this good? For the view?
Yeah.
All right. So how many of you here use an iPhone? Well, this product is an actual iPhone. So, well, you guys have. Oh, well, you wait for the mic. So while you guys all have an iPhone, this one has an eye embedded on the phone, and it's got a good panorama. What's it called? Panoramic view on it. That's the main feature of this. Yeah, that's it.
The phone with an eye on it.
Yep. So that's why it's the OG. Because it has an eye. I could say it sells for pretty good. No. Yeah.
It's an eye on it.
Steve Jobs would never.
Do you want to present like where you are? Okay, that's fine. That's okay. Okay, so that was the exercise. Like normally we can like go around the room and like we can pick a favorite as well. Okay. We don't have to, but like yeah. I think the cutting board is the most utility. Best pitch would go to the what was your device called again?
Funky straw.
Funky straw.
And just fun fact, it's the exact product.
Actually,
Actually,
Yeah. Drink from your instrument.
that's pretty
You
cool.
get thirsty while you're playing guitar. I was a little concerned about the product.
Yeah. Wait, whose drug did you get?
My main man.
What was that supposed to be?
High heels, right? It's usually in the back, right? So it's I put it in the front because it didn't want me to be uncomfortable, right?
So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This works out your cars by the way, going about your day. That's pretty smooth. Yeah.
I thought my heel for a second, but I was like, I kept second guessing myself.
And who's going with that? Yeah. Okay, you were pretty good. Yeah. What about, okay, yeah.
It's supposed to be update on the phone.
So you can cook. Oh my god, you were watching.
so when you're not ready, you don't want to put the pen down.
The laser looking at it.
And who's going did you get?
That's
So,
Mika. Yeah, who's drawing what you get?
A whole defense where instead of laying the weight, you have to shed it.
wow.
So, is it, I have a question.
Do you want
Is
to?
your product legal?
Sorry, you're gonna go for that? Yeah.
So you don't sell to homeowners, you sell to
Oh, okay. So, the quick sheet come up with was this is the DIY fan power drone. That's pretty impressive. He wanted it to be more of like a lethal people killer. And what was your drawing originally supposed to be? The one that he did? Wow, so you were pretty close to what it actually was. Oh, love it. Oh. You're a problem solver.
That's small, so I can stay here.
It's good. Sami, that doesn't do much. I think we'll be back.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Okay, amazing. I think we can start slide now. Yeah. Yeah, no, next one. Yeah. Okay. So what was sort of the morals or like the lessons from the exercise? Like what I wanted to like try and convey. I think one thing that we all can agree is that like ideas come from anywhere, but I think what's important is what you do with them. We all have, before we interchange some idea, something that we drew, but then when we exchange them, that's when something actually came out of it. Second, I think it's important to like be willing to discover ideas. How we do that, we go into that a little bit as well. And also, it's like
Creative confidence is important. It's like I was saying earlier, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay for you to come up and pitch something that absolutely no one ever is going to use. But just exercise your creativity, right, while you do it.
It's being comfortable.
Right.
It's one of the, I think one of the most nerve-wracking things for any young entrepreneur, any young founder of any type of venture, is we tend to, a lot of the times, come across situations where we're in a room full of 40-year-olds, we're in a room full of 30-year-olds, we're in a room full of people with 20 years more experience than we have, and it's like a constant battle of how am I, besides being young, how am I actually going to show these people that, you know, I have a viable product? And it's really all about comfortability, because you could go into that world and you could have the stupidest product in the world, but if you are comfortable with them, and you pitch it to them, and you are personable with them, and you make them feel like they can trust you and they can hear you, it doesn't matter how stupid your product is, it's just about who you are, right? So it's just about getting comfortable in situations that are uncomfortable.
I think yes, that is an important part of being creative. Right? And I think in school we don't do that because like you're penalized for being incorrect. And that's why we're always scared of being incorrect. It's just how it's like CBT. Like that's just how our behavior becomes over time. You've got to first I think start by being another thing that like in the beginning I said we go through like 3 steps of like becoming more creative. That in my opinion I think work fairly well. The first important thing is to be curious. Like learning and gathering knowledge I think is the most important part of being creative and like problem solving. Because like this is a very accurate representation of your brain when you're trying to be creative. Right? I think some of my best ideas come to me while like I'm not necessarily actively thinking about them, but more like in the shower. You guys have had ideas in the shower too. Right? Like when you're least expecting to come up with a solution to a problem, you come up with a solution to it. And that happens because there is something in your brain that is your knowledge that you're actively processing all the time. Either your memories, experiences, or things that you've learned that become like foundational blocks of what you're thinking about throughout the day. And then that combines with a potential problem that you come across. Together, they help you come up with a solution at a time when you're least expecting it. That is, when you're in a shower. Right? So I think in this sort of matrix where you have like a problem, your knowledge, a problem, and a solution, a very key thing is having sufficient knowledge. So I think back in 800 BC, I'm not sure if that's right, but like with Alexandria, with the city, when they would like take ships and like invade places, yes, they would like steal goods, but what they would also do is they would raid libraries just to learn from the place that they've gone to. Because when they would learn from them, they now had more knowledge that they could work with while inventing things later. So I think Pythagoras was I think one of them, and like people that I think are pretty well-known mathematicians in the past. A key element of everything that they came up with was the knowledge that they had. So I think one thing that's really important is acquiring a lot of knowledge. And just going back to that, like how do you acquire knowledge? The simplest way to do it is by always asking like how and why. Okay, this is how something happens. Why? How does it work? Just keep trying to get as deep as you can, and do the same even in the problem-solving process, right? Like for example, Apple. Everybody knows what Apple is, right? Like it's no longer the fruit is like has worse SEO than the company now. And when you look up Apple, you're going to see the company first. And I think one thing that they did really well was that when all the competitors are like say trying to climb a hill, they're able to like step back and think, why are we even climbing the hill in the first place? And then they step back, see, okay, maybe there is another hill that we could be climbing, and in the process, maybe find a mountain. In that way, they're like far ahead of the competitors. That's just by constantly having the mindset where you're gathering knowledge and inquiring about like what's going on around. This is like a shower idea that I have. So this is one of my 3D printers. I connected a pen to it and then like wrote a simple script to like write my biology assignment. So the problem was I have terrible handwriting, knowledge how 3D printers work, and then that was the solution. Like just basically connect a pen to my 3D printer and like get it to write my biology assignment. And sadly, they did not accept this. They made me rewrite it anyways because they said this is too neat a handwriting for anyone to believe it's yours. Did you not show them the video? They saw it later on my link. Yeah. Well, yeah. Second thing, work hard. Like, creativity does take a lot of. Second thing, I think that's really important is that creativity takes a lot of work. Like, for example, we've all heard Edison's story of like making the light bulb. That took like thousands of attempts. Similar thing with the vacuum cleaner. I think the person that invented it, his name is James Dyson. You all know Dyson. Before he made the first working prototype of the vacuum cleaner, I think he made like 5,000 prototypes until he made one that actually sucked. Like, in the sense, like, actually worked. Like, it didn't actually suck. It did what it was supposed to. So, creativity does take a lot of work. And while you're doing this, like, it's okay to be weird, it's okay to be crazy. Like, we saw some of the ideas, like the what was the straw called again?
The funky straw.
The funky straw. Like maybe someone would actually use that. You know, like people in orchestras maybe. Strong straws. That's pretty nice. SS. That could be the logo. Right? Strong straws. You know, you never know what that might actually be of utility to someone, right? And this, just a drawing of it might be quite weird, it might almost be crazy to think about, but it might be something that people actually need. So in the process of being creative, another thing, while it's okay to be wrong, it's also okay to be like weird and crazy. Essentially, do what you want to do, right? Like when you're trying to make something. Like this guy that made a radio hat. You can see they're like earmuffs, so she could actually listen to the radio with a helmet while she's walking around. That's really weird to do. It was a product. So, exactly. And like this now, it's I think really useful for the corporate environment.
It's versatile. Sure.
Yeah. Take a nap anywhere. And yeah, and as you're trying, multiple times, hundreds of times, thousands of times, you might get lucky with one of them. One of those things might be the solution that you're looking for, might be the thing that, turns into a unicorn and startup, but like becomes like a killer solution that everyone's been looking for. But like either you can get lucky once, or you can create your luck by like trying multiple times, right? Like you have two dice, you can roll it once, like the probability of you rolling a 12 is like 1 out of 12. But you roll that 100 times, at least once you're gonna roll it up to 6, right? So that goes, it's the same process with building startups or being creative. Like you gotta keep trying. You gotta learn from your mistakes, let go of them. If things are not working out, like scrap them. Don't get too attached to what you're building. Like I think there's something called sunk cost fallacy. A lot of people are like, oh, I've been working on this for 6 months, I can't give up now. So I'm gonna work on this for another 3 years and it's still gonna go nowhere. No, like that's sunk cost. 6 months, learn from, get the most that you can out of it, learn your lessons and then move on. And I think Mr. Beast in a lot of his podcasts, I think we all know Mr. Beast is a YouTuber. He talks about how like many times he spent hundreds of thousands on like making a video, and when it's done, it just doesn't feel like it was a good video, and he just scraps it, despite all the manners that were spent on it, right? Like Steve Jobs did that too with a lot of Apple projects. That if you invested time, you invested money in it, but if it didn't make sense, it's okay. Like stop, build something new, just keep going, because eventually you will get lucky and you will build something that people want to use, or you will build a scrubby daddy. Scrub daddy, my bad. They're like, this scrub, like what, 300 million in sales?
They just did over, I think maybe in the last 2 years, maybe over $200 million in sales. And they took this, Scrub Daddy blew up in the US because it went on to Shark Tank. And obviously, it went on to Shark Tank and get all the awareness. But imagine a product as stupid and as simple as I'm going to put a mouth and eyes in a scrub to wash my dishes. Like, with a normal scrub, you could focus and wash your spoon or your fork. Yes, sir.
You know what was the best-selling item on Shark Tank in history, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Shark
Tank history.
Yeah.
Best-selling item ever. And
Yeah.
it's the stupidest thing. So
It's-
I
yeah.
think that's basically a self-explanatory.
Yeah. You never know, maybe it started in the workshop like this, someone drew a circle with 2 holes and a smile, and next thing you know, it's a $100 million company. So like these ideas, they can come out of nowhere, but it's up to you to be able to find them and like channel them, and then not just have these ideas, but actually do something with them. Right?
I do want to add as well, I think there's a real importance in you find the idea, you channel it, but also you really need to love it, right? If you're not going to love it, if it's something that, creatively you came up with it, and you're like, oh cool, I can make some money off of this, but it's not something that you would really put all of your passion into, scrap it. Not because you're focused on the money, not because you're focused on the wrong things, but because if you're going to go into something and you're going to put your time into something, you're going to build a venture, why would you do something that you don't love to do?
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I think it's really also about making sure that the product that you eventually channel and that you eventually decide to create, you really have to either already love it or be able to learn to love it.
Yeah. No, I'm happy you brought that up, because that was the next point that I was going to talk about. Like, just come up with multiple ideas, even if it's like a solution to a problem, come up with multiple things so you can choose and you can do what you like doing, right? Because like entrepreneurship or building a startup, it's not easy, right? Like people are going to kick you while you're down. That's happened like multiple times. And anybody that's ever been in business knows that, you're going to be in a bad state where you're running out of money, running out of support, and that's when like things can get even worse, right? And to persevere through that, you're only able to do if you really care about what you're building. So that's why come up with a range of ideas, pick something that you actually care about, and like work on it. And I think we can close with like at least this section by saying that I think we are all a lot more creative than we give ourselves credit for. And at the end of the day, it's just about actually putting in the work. And yeah, I think we are a room of pretty creative people today, right? So this is the first part. And that's Sami's turn now.
So I am going to play. Oh, you want to present your meme?
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, they can just read it.
Okay.
You should read it too.
Okay. An IT specialist was beaten even though he had a gun. He had troubleshooting. I like that. That's cute.
Thanks, Sam. This is what I was doing last night, just making memes. Yeah.
So I'm going to play a little bit of a game with you guys, a lot quicker than the drawing. Super simple. As a marketer, I have an interesting relationship with emojis. Sometimes they are my friend, and sometimes I hate them. I think that emojis can get super tacky and stuff like that, but I also think that there's a great use case for them. Engagement and all these different things, right? That actually has nothing to do with what we're doing, because this is a misleading game. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask each one of you, go from emoji to emoji, what you think it means in the context of building a brand and marketing your product and marketing your business. Omar, what do you think the first emoji means? Creativity? It's not a bad answer. I mean, as a marketer, of course, like, you really need to be creative. You need to have that creative outlet. Does anybody else have a guess to what the artist means? The painter. Yeah. References, that's also a good one, right? In marketing, one of the most important things you need to do is you need to look at your competitors, you need to see what they do. Rishabh, do you have any idea what the painter means? Okay, so I'll give you guys this one. You got a graphic designer? So it's a good guess. It's a good guess. Obviously, graphic design is part of marketing. But again, so this is a misleading game. So all of these emojis represent basically a one-liner that I really think is important. Not social media, no. So what it means is think like an artist, not a CEO or a CMO or a CFO or whatever your position is. Think like an artist. So when you are building your brand, when you are building, your marketing strategy, deciding how you want to structure your branding, your color schemes, your logo, your actual marketing strategy, how you're going to push out content, what kind of content are you going to create? I think generally in the beginning of our talk, I talked a little bit about this. I say a lot of people get stuck in the mindset of structuring a business, running a business extremely formal, getting stuck into all of the financial details and all of these minimal details. And those are all extremely important in their own right. But when you go to focus on your marketing, go to focus on your branding, this is when you have to release your inner artist. This is when you have to release your inner creator, right? And even if you aren't an artist, even if you weren't a painter in school, or you don't, do any different designs, or you're not a graphic designer or any of these things, you can still create art that means something to you, right? Because at the end of the day, you're building your business. Yes, you need to sell it to consumers. You need to teach people about things. You need to spread awareness and grow your business, but you need to make sure you're doing something you love, and creatively, you have to love it too, right? So you have to make sure your branding and your artistry and the strategy that you produce embodies your artistic values. So we'll move to the second. Sure. Is there an emoji that intrigues anyone? Huh? No, from these. The orangutan. I like that though. I should use the orangutan next time we use this. And Spiderweb 1, what do you think it means? Networking? That's very, very close. Basically what it is. So you basically hit it on the spot. So your network, yeah. Your network is your greatest ally. From my experience in the past few years, being able to be in so many different industries, especially here in the UAE, in the US, and working with so many different people on so many different levels, I've come to understand that as a marketer, there is nothing better than your network.
For example, we are conducting this workshop today, and if it wasn't for Rishabh, having worked with the assembly in the past 2 years ago, and I think a few times as well, other than that, we wouldn't be here right now, right? And that is, for example, is an example of his network, right? And how it is his greatest ally. As a marketer, the connections you build are your resources, right? Whether it's a company you used to work for where you met a graphic designer who you befriended, or it's a CMO at another company that can give you insight, or a podcast host that you went to high school with, right? All of these different relationships are super important to your marketing. And even, let's say, if you haven't retained these relationships, it's still okay to go out and try to build new ones. It's super important. So it's definitely can be really uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's important to remember that your network as a marketer is your greatest ally. Any other emojis? Picker? The key. What do you think it is? Financial freedom. Unlocking financial freedom. In marketing? Security. In what sense? So again, they're misleading, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that the key is going to unlock something, right? It is the key to success, but what is the key to success? I didn't hear you. Okay, that's not a bad answer. But the answer is actually extremely simple. The key to marketing is consistency. That's it, right? Honestly, it's so basic, it's so simple. But what do we mean when we say consistency, right? What we mean is not just in your branding, not just in the type of content that you produce, but how much content are you producing? When are you producing your content? When are you dropping a press release? When are you reaching out to media? If you're going to put up a billboard somewhere and you have this huge company with millions of dollars, how long is the billboard going to stay up? Are you going to put another one up after that? Building consistency in marketing is everything, right? Marketing is a psychological game. Right? You want people to remember your business. You want it to be embedded in their brain. How do you do that? You consistently market your product, right? It doesn't matter if you're putting out one Instagram post or one press release every 2 months or one reel every 2 weeks. As long as you're doing it every 2 weeks or every day or every other day, whatever your schedule may be, continue to build your business in that way, right? If you choose a brand color scheme with a color code 212121, like our background, which is this like blackish gray, right? Use it on every single presentation that you make, right? That is your branding. Those are your brand guidelines. Follow them. That is consistency, right? You have to make sure that you are consistently using your resources and the things that you have built for your business to market it. And it's as simple as that.
It's like sort of a lead by example that is with Meta, I think in the past, since we've launched the social club, it's been about 6 weeks now.
Something like that, maybe a little less.
46 weeks. We try to put out at least 30 pieces of content every week, or like even slightly more through all of our channels, and like we like 5 different channels, and we make sure to post them every single one of them at least once a day or once every 2 or 3 days. So I think when you're starting out, you want to make a big noise about what you're doing, and you can do that by being consistent, because that's when the algorithms treat you well as well.
100%. The algorithms treat you a lot better when it comes to social media when you start producing content consistently. With Paisa, we're really trying to, push consistent content. Obviously, sometimes it gets hard, even in all senses of marketing. I don't want to get lost in the fact that marketing is just social media, although that probably does make up around 70% of it today, in today's world. But in all of your marketing materials, all of your channels, whether they're physical, whether they're social, any type of marketing that you're doing, referral, anything, just make sure that it's consistent. And it's as simple as that. Any picker for the next emoji? Yeah. What do you think it means? Remember, completely misleading, right? Whatever you're going to guess is probably not it. So
that's what innovative creativity. What he's doing, like what you're gonna say is probably gonna be wrong.
Yeah, it is probably gonna be wrong. But let's I'm intrigued. Okay. The marketing superhero, basically. Okay, that's not a bad answer. That's not a bad. Do I have any other takers? Any other takers? Seems like you have a little bit of an idea. I'll give you guys a hint. Who do superheroes fight? Bad guys. What's the most common crime in the world? It's a petty crime. It's a petty crime. Stealing, right? So one of the most important things for any marketer, any creator, any artist, is that good artists copy and great artists steal, right? And I mean this completely literally, right? If you look at some of the best businesses in the world and then compare them to their most successful competitors and look at some of the things they're doing, you'll find that almost every year they end up copying something that their competitor did, but they don't copy it. The ones that do it successful steal it. What's the difference, right? When you copy something, you copy, paste, you don't format, right? Or you don't format or you do format? Like, you know, when you don't format, exactly. When you copy, you don't format, it just pastes as it was from wherever you got it, right? It's bland, it's not your content, you didn't make it your own. But when you steal, you copy, you paste, and you format to whatever your marketing is, to whatever your content is, right? You make it your own. You steal it, you make that product your own, you make that marketing resource your own. If you're struggling to create content, go look at your best competitor who's creating amazing content and create the exact same content as him because it's proven to work, but make it your own, and that's what's going to make you successful. If you just make the content exactly how he made it, word for word, script for script, picture for picture, frame for frame, it's bland and it's not going to do well, right? And it's not going to be your own. You're not creating your own voice, your own identity as a company. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're building a brand, you're building an identity. This is what's going to represent your company to the public, right? Anybody who sees this online or sees you in person, your marketing goes hand in hand with it. So would you rather put out work that people have already done and, you know, it works, but it's not really your own? Or just take something super successful and make it yours? And then I think we have two more emojis. TV or the phone, Omar?
I think not stealing the right ideas, the strategy, the vision. For example, like Be Real.
Be Real, yeah.
It's like basically stealing the
Have you seen what TikTok did recently? TikTok created Now, I think. If some of you have been opening your TikTok lately, you'd see like a Now page. And basically, TikTok just built their own Be Real, right? But with their own branding and a few different features, but it's literally the exact same thing. They stole from what was their biggest competitor. Be Real has disrupted the social media space in the past year. So TikTok said, well, we're bigger than you, so we're just going to steal it from you. And it's as simple as that. But it is like, obviously, you know, you think of that, you hear that, and you're like, okay, well, stealing is bad, right? But you're not actually stealing from people. You're not committing a crime, right? Art is art. If you go out and you see something that, like a picture you like, and then you go home and you redraw that picture, it wasn't a crime that you did that, right? It was just because you actually appreciated it. So if someone is marketing their business in a successful way and you like it and it's successful and you think you can take away from that and make it your own, do it. Because no one's gonna kick you for it. It's not gonna make your business any worse. It's only gonna make you more successful.
Again, like leading by example, I think Sami stole most of
Everything's stolen.
media posts.
Not everything.
From like my previous startups where we had like a bunch of content. I'm just gonna template daily.
100%. I tell Rishabh all the time, the more Instagram profiles he sends me of companies he likes and projects he likes, the better content I can produce and the easier he makes my job for me, right? Because he gives me stuff that's already working, it's already proven, but I don't just copy and paste it. I take the opportunity to make it our own, right? And to make it feel like, you know, okay, Paisa didn't just hop on this meme and grab it from this page. Paisa actually created their own meme. And most people will think, oh, this is funny. Like, oh, look what Paisa is doing, right? They're not going to think about the competitor I took it from because I made it Paisa's.
So in marketing, stealing makes you a superhero.
Stealing makes you a superhero. Does anyone want to pick the phone or the TV? You can go either one. TV? Distribution channels, exactly. So What does this mean? The importance of choosing your channels, right? And I don't just mean this in the sense of social media. I also mean this in the sense of PR or, physical marketing, like old school, like billboards and these types of things, or even flyers and stuff like that. How are you going to market your business? Because you don't want to do too many and you don't want to do too little, but it's key to determine what channels work for you, what channels suit your industry. Because once you have those down solid and you know how you're going to distribute your content, how you're going to engage people, how you're going to grow your consumers, how you're going to grow your market, and how you're going to infiltrate different markets is through your channels, right? So for example, for Paisa, we have 5 channels. We have a creator channel, we have our social channels, we have, I'm blanking on them right now, but we have 5, right? And we've stuck to those 5 because we believe that those are our core marketing values, right? Those are the core channels that are going to perform best for us and tie in with how we want to build our business to the future, right? Because whenever you're building a business, not just in marketing, you want to grow towards something. It's not just, I want to build this product, you build it, done. It's, I want to build this product, then what? Then what? Then what? Then what, right? You're working towards a goal. So you need to determine which of these channels are going to work best for you and help you grow towards your next goal, grow towards your next milestone, and continue to scale your business, right? Whether that's through social media, whether that's through blog posting, whether that's through YouTube. I guess YouTube counts as social media, but a streaming platform or any of these types of things, whether it's through radio or TV, whether it's through press releases, newspapers, or magazines, right? You determine what works best for your business. Take it down to 3 to 5. You could go over 5 if you feel really comfortable, but I'd say 5 is probably the top like you ever need to go, and 3 is probably the most perfect number you could get. And yeah, just choose your channels. Choose your channels. Does anyone have a guess for the phone? No, but cool guess, honestly, cool guess. Anyone else? Any takers? Social media? No. Sorry? Personalized content? You're getting a little closer. You're getting a little personal is a good one. So what is the phone, right? So someone who is using an application on a phone is a consumer. When you are a marketer, when you are a CMO, when you are a marketing exec, whether you're a CEO or anything, when you're building a business, you're building your marketing, the one thing you need to do, Rishabh said it in the beginning, the first thing you do in the step of creating something is you empathize, right? You understand the market, you understand the people that you want to eventually build something for, you understand the problem that you want to solve, right? You understand the consumer. A lot of people when building a venture, especially young founders, I think I get lost in this a lot, is that you forget about the consumer and you're so focused on yourself and the actual business that you forget about what people actually like to consume, what people actually like. So you have to remember that before you had this gig, before you had this role, before you were building this business, before you had this marketing job, you were a consumer and you still are a consumer, right? So make sure that you're building a product that you yourself would consume, because if you wouldn't consume it, then you won't market it and your marketing will fail. And it's as simple as that. And I would live and die by that. But if you would consume it and you can make yourself feel like you could consume it, even if you wouldn't initially, that's one of the number one things that you need to do. So be the consumer. And that's it.
Okay, before we wrap up, I have like a couple of venture building memes to take you all through again, which also are like connected to like, I think some of the important lessons that we learned along the way. But before that, this is me and Sami and sales presentations, and this is me and the CTO after. Yeah. It's possible. Yeah. Okay, anyways, moving back to this. No, I'm going to them now. Oh, wait, okay. Okay, so this is, I think, one of the most common fallacies that we see young founders make. And like, not just young, honestly, founders of all ages, right? They spend 6 months, 2 years, 3 years designing this amazing out of the world product with like really cool technology. that absolutely no one ever asked for just because they thought that it was cool. I think an example of that is, I don't even think people know about this, but Amazon at some point had invented a phone that had 5 cameras on the outside of it. There was like 1 camera in each corner and like 1 in the center that was somehow supposed to like be a complete 3-dimensional phone, like a portal to a VR world sort of a thing. That, which in hindsight is like basically what like the Oculus is now, but like, so Jeff Bezos had made something like that. I think they burnt over 300 million on it, and he was the only person who ever used that phone. So founders make that mistake often, right? Like really good and experienced and seasoned founders as well. So something that I think you should really keep in mind is that start with a problem. Start by building something that people would actually use because it's giving them value as a solution to a problem that they have. Yeah, and how do you make sure that what you're building actually has value? And we did this with Paisa. I don't even know if you know this. Before I brought Sami on the team, we interviewed 100 people about what we were going to build, right? And these were completely investigatory interviews where we don't tell them yet about what idea we have in mind. We just talk to them about their problem, right? And I think literally like actually 100 people documented what they wanted, which helped us reiterate on what we were actually building and come up with something that was like, okay, now this seems to make more sense. This is more defined as a problem and a solution. This is what we're going to spend time and money actually building. But 100 people before that. And in those conversations, like I was saying, we were not actually presenting something. So,
Okay, what? You okay, what?
you guys could hear that, right? So yeah, the problem is founders don't listen. So when you're trying to do these interviews, when you're trying to talk to 100 people, listen, don't talk, listen, understand the problems that they're trying to face, empathize with the people that you're speaking to. Don't just go up and try to sell, you know, like that's not going to get you anywhere. That's just going to help you build a business that like no one's going to use at the end of the day. After that, I think the next very important thing is the people and the team that you choose. I've got this wrong twice before. 2 of my startups that have failed in the past were entirely because of the team. It was not that they were not talented people. They were extremely talented people. I think all of them, like my team went on to attend some of the top universities after that. And like, this is, I think with Broccoli Brains, this is a project, we built it during the pandemic, got, like I was saying earlier, awarded by Steve Wozniak. We got into really good accelerators, got interviewed for Y Combinator. But after all that, what happened is we realized that it was 8 of us that did not work well together as a team at all. And when going got really difficult, we just disbanded. There were fights internally. And like, yeah, like when things are good, everybody's their best self, right? Everybody's happy, everybody's excited, everyone's showing up to work. But when things are going to shit and you don't have money and like things are going wrong, that's when like the more real person comes out, right? Like you see people's character more. And people that are willing to stick to you through that are people that you really want to co-found a business with. Because like co-founding is very much like getting married to the person. Because you're spending unhealthy amounts of time with them. So you have to make sure that you can really tolerate them.
Glad you guys have my wife.
Yes. So you got to make sure that you can actually tolerate them for those long hours. Sometimes you can't, but you do it anyways, right? So make sure that you like the people enough. Second, make sure that you're complimenting them, right? Like don't just start a business with your best friend. I think a lot of people think, oh, you know, we get along well together as friends. We hang out and have fun. I'm sure if we started a business, it's going to be the same. I made this mistake with an edtech startup that was Tangled as well. So it was me and like 2 of my friends that started it. We were doing well. I was dating a girl at the time and I was like, wouldn't it be nice if I got her to join the team as well? You know, we get to spend more time together. Bad idea. Don't do that. Yeah, and as that relationship broke up, so did the company. So don't start a company with someone that you're dating, ideally. And like even Tinder, like $6 billion company, it was started by a couple. They got that big. They got into a fight. The wife left Tinder, started Bumble, the biggest competitor to Tinder now. Yeah. Bumble started by a co-founder of Tinder. They were actually dating or married, I'm not sure. And then they broke up and she started Bumble. She's like, I'm going to take everything that was broken at Tinder and I'm going to go fix it. So yeah, don't make those mistakes. And then after that, right, so now you've like spoken to 100 people, you know what you want to make. Don't spend the next 6 months building something. Like that's, again, stupid. The quickest thing that you can make, the first prototype that we had for Paisa, I made it in less than 24 hours. And it was good enough for us, like, we got like
we won a prize where I think we got like a 15,000 dirham cash prize with the prototype. It was super simple. Literally 24 hours. I was like, it conveys the message that we're trying to convey. This will give people an idea of what we're trying to build, and it's good enough to start with. It was a clickable prototype.
It's not exactly what
That's good enough.
but it's
Yeah.
something that can show what you want to do in the future.
Exactly. So like, as founders, you typically tend to be like visionary, and you have this very ideal state of your product, right? So an exercise that I like to do, which I have in like a Notion template that I can briefly talk about after. Yes, I have a Notion template. But basically you start with like a very ideal state of what you want to build. Like this is like the 100% solution, right? And then you strip it down to like 80%. And then you look at that and think that this is the 100%. And then strip it down further till you're left with something that's like 5 to 10% of what you actually want to build. That's just addressing the key value proposition of the problem that you were trying to solve earlier. Take that to people, see if they would actually first use it and secondly pay for it. And if it makes sense, then like work your way up slowly, building more features, adding more integrations, and like sort of solving more problems as you go. And yes, test with actual users, just like Bernie's saying, like that's important. I think a lot of people, they'll go to their grandmother and say, hey, look, I just made this. What do you think? And then she's like, oh my God, you're like the most intelligent kid I've ever met. This is a beautiful solution. Don't do that. Do the grandma test, right? Even if you're presenting it to your friends, see if they're willing to criticize you. Because if they're not, then that's not good feedback for you. So what happened with Paisa also, after we had the prototype, at least the first 15 people we spoke to were like friends, family members, and then, friends of family members. And they were all like, oh my God, you're so smart, and this is such a good solution. And I was like, but that's not helpful. So that's why you've got to like actively seek people that are either going to be actual users that would be willing to pay for your product, not just because they want to support you because you're a kid, but because they actually want to use it. And second, people that are like willing to be more truthful, willing to criticize you. Because like the criticism is not negative. This is very constructive criticism. And the earlier you get it, the better it is. And yeah, this is another thing that's important, right? And I think like Sami was saying, your network is super important. You can go out and like try 1,000 things and make 1,000 mistakes. Or you can meet 1,000 founders, that's a lot. Let's say meet 10 founders who made 100 mistakes each that are like much older than you. Get as much knowledge and information as you can from them. Because now, okay, you met 10 founders each and made 100 mistakes. You talk to them about it. Now you have the accumulated knowledge or like wisdom of 1,000 mistakes. 1,000 mistakes that you're now going to avoid because you spoke to people that taught you all of this. Now, like a lot of the things that we talked about before as well, like some things, yes, I experienced firsthand. Other things that just mentors and like other startup founders have told me are mistakes that they made along the lines, right? And it is super important that you learn from them so that you don't make the same mistakes at the end of the day. And finally, this is I think something that a lot of young founders, I'm guessing you guys have seen this too, like these days at startup competitions, you go up to kids and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to raise this much money for my startup. Or like, it's like, okay, so the truth is like you get a lot of PR when you raise money. That's just natural, because like media sells because people like reading these like, oh my God, some kid made like $1 million or something and everybody wants to read that. That's why fundraising gets a lot of PR. But then that's not important to building a business at all. Like up until literally last week, we were entirely bootstrapped. It was just personal savings and like money that I'd invested myself, and like I wasn't paying Sami, still I'm not. But yeah.
I came from a background just this past year. I was working a really great job. I was getting paid a really good salary, right? As a young person. But he doesn't like to see it. But like, no, I think it's the story, right? Because you realize what you really value. Do you value money, or do you value actually just going out there and building something with people that you like and people that are like-minded, people that inspire you, right? Like Rishabh is my peer, he's my colleague, he's my boss, he's my coworker, but he does inspire, right? And I hope that sometimes I can also inspire him in different areas of what he can do. But it's about really just going out there and just doing things. Like forget about money, forget about fundraising, forget about investing. Build with what you have. Like Paisa doesn't have a graphic design, but I never graphic design in my life, right? But Rishabh says, you're not getting a graphic design. I said, okay, like it's design everything my book, right? But you have to figure out a way, right? You have to figure out what you can do and what kind of resources you do have think back to the network that you made. You know, what did you learn from people in the past? What did you watch your peers do, your past coworkers, your friends even? Reach out to them, see how they may be able to help you, or what you can learn from them. It's on YouTube. Take a course, check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the girl in the red dress is actually very toxic, and you do not want to go after her. Be with the girl that you're with. Be with the blue girl dress. Like, cause like it gets like 100x stressful the moment you raise funds, right? Because now you're playing with someone else's money, and that person worked really hard for their money, and now they're going to be calling you every day, asking you what you're doing with the money. They want like an account of every single dollar you're spending, and yeah, I mean it's not that bad for us at all, but it can get incredibly difficult after you raise money, you know. And then, have you guys heard of Zepto? Has anybody heard of Zepto? It's an Indian startup. I think it's like worth 900 million plus now. It was founded by like an acquaintance of mine. He's like I think 20 years old as well. He was based out of Dubai. Used to go to Modern Academy, I believe, and they started it during the pandemic. And their business is like 900 million right now. So it's a big business. But both the co-founders together own 2% of the company. Because that's it. Like they own two. So they are still like CEO and CTO, but they make no decisions within the company because 40% is owned by a VC, another 15% is owned by an angel investor. So what happens at the end of the day is it is your company that you cared so much about, but you have absolutely no control over it because you've just kept raising funds that way. So it's always better in the long term to bootstrap, try to build revenue, and yeah, do not raise until you absolutely need to, and even when you are, only raise what you actually need. Like it's not winning the lottery. Like you're not winning the lottery when you're fundraising. Someone else's money, and you have to be accountable for every dollar. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
That's the new way. Startups. But I think one of the best startups, all bootstrap, all revenue based when they first start.
Yeah.
That way, when you make mistakes, they cost money.
Yeah.
They cost you money. And you're a lot more cautious, you're a lot more, you learn fast from your mistakes. When you kind of just fundraising, go at a fast speed, they thought a lot of growth opportunities.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I think it will make sense to fundraise when you have to.
Yeah.
Also, I think a great saying to connect with that is, if you want to be successful in life, take the path of less travel, right? Don't take the easy way out. Don't just take $100 million because they threw it in your face. Don't just take $1,000 just because they told you to give it to you. Decide if that's really the easy way out, or if there's a better destination you can get to if you go harder, if you go and take the harder path.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's in any area of your life. You can apply that to your business, you can apply that to your person. Take your own path.
Okay, I mean, just to like add to that, sorry, it's really quick. It's like, fundraising is also not the easier path. It might look easier, like now you have a lot of money, but like raising funds is like a shit ton of work. This is like closing the round last week. We've been working on it for more than 2 months, right? Like every single day pitching to like 60 people, 70 people, so many no's, some yeses, things go. You end up wasting a lot of time with people sometimes too, but it's a part of the process and it's not easy for anybody, right? So yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think. Yeah, I think that's all we got. Yeah. Thank you. Any questions? Anything that you guys want to know? Thank you. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about just like where you're at with Paisa?
Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing.
Sure. Yeah.
Where do you see Paisa going in the next year?
Yeah. I think something that we didn't do earlier is like I don't think people know what Paisa does exactly. So Paisa is a fintech financial well-being application. If your employer is using Paisa, you can get your salary on a daily basis, essentially. It's an earned wage access application where based on the number of days that you work, you can withdraw your salary for that portion of the month instantly. And at the end of the month, we tally it with the employer so that everything stays on the books and then the employer cash flow remains unaffected. Yeah. Yeah. You can get 15 days of your salary instantly instead of waiting till the end of the month.
This idea, I met Rishabh, he told me the story about Paisa, he told me everything, but what really hooked me was, he said, I said, how did you come up with the idea? Like, where did this come from? And he said, I saw someone in my family struggling to pay their bills, to pay their debts, and they couldn't qualify for a credit card, they couldn't qualify for a loan. A lot of people in the UAE live under the wage gap under $5,000. And you do live under that. You don't qualify for credit, you don't qualify for most anyway. So based on the solution to that, right? For people who work, because most companies don't give salary advances because they might be too difficult to give, or they might not have that free cash flow to then send their employee money.
Yeah.
So it's a solution to that, right? We want to be able to help people, right? We want to be able to help solve their problem. If they need to help their family, if they need to send money home. That is the pure reason. Obviously, the top executive who makes 20,000 feels pretty huge space, but it really comes from a good place, right? For the people who need it.
Yeah.
And it's hopefully in the next year we can really start making it.
All right.
This is okay. It's good. People need it. It's solve the problem. All you've been doing is influence so that people will know.
Yeah, so I think building influence is 100% super important. I think the key to building your influence is one, establishing first step of establishing your marketing, right? Because if you want to influence people, you want to engage people, you need to market to them, right? So the first step of marketing anything is building your brand guidelines for your company. I'd say another quick side tip of advice, as I think in today's day and age, is 100% super successful, is if you take an individual and also connect them with that brand. Continue to brand that individual coinciding with the company, right? And produce engaging content, even if it's educational, right? Don't just sell people your product. Forget about selling edutainment. Edutainment is like this new made-up word that a lot of people in the Web3 space have used in like the last couple of years. And literally just educate people, but be cute, be quirky, be funny, use puns, use memes, right? Like use emojis, use memes. That's literally embodied in our presentation, right? We wouldn't have been able to engage you if we just had text on the screen and we're talking the whole time. But we engaged you because we put stuff up that we thought, displays the information we want to provide to you, but also gives you something that you would say, oh, I want to follow this account. Their content's fun, right? Oh, I want to follow this account. I learned something new, right?
So if you want to make it like super actionable, right? So like just to answer this question, like what are like 3 very actionable, practical stuff that you would say someone should do?
Okay. Brand your business, brand yourself. Consistent content. Don't teach, educate. Yeah, does that make sense? Don't teach, educate.
What do you mean by don't sell it? Don't sell your app over to the consumer.
Oh, I said don't just say, we have this product, you can get it now, it's free for you, right? Because someone's going to scroll, they're going to see that, someone's trying to sell them something, swipe away, right? They're going to go online, they're going to see an article, someone's trying to sell them something, close the tab, right? They're going to open the newspaper, someone's trying to sell them something, close, right? Whoever opens the newspaper.
There's actually very simple reasoning as to why, like, I think, yeah, you were telling us this yesterday, right? Like, why this is sort of changed now, where like, now as consumers, we very much have the access to choose what we want to buy, right? Like, we can go to Amazon and like, pick what we want exactly. So when someone comes up to us and tries to sell us something, it's immediately like a red flag. I don't want to engage in this conversation, right? So even with the content that we have, it's like, if you're just gonna straight up try to say, oh, we are doing this, you can,
We are
get
this.
this is like,
You get, no, you get today with your business, it's free for your business, and your employees get to start getting their salary early.
just
It's
like,
too long, it's too much extra.
nobody cares.
No one cares, right? But if I put a meme like the last Rishabh knows it, but it's if you've seen Usher's performance of his on YouTube, there's a very meme clip where he goes, "Watch this," So it's just a meme on loop of Usher going, "Watch this," and the caption is, where it's like someone said,
You can't give people their salary.
you can't give the people their salary, but they want it. And then Usher said, "Watch this," right? But someone scrolling is going to say, see, you can't give people example. Watch this. What do they mean, watch this? Press on the page. What is this? Base? Oh, the Bible says empower your employees. Okay.
Yeah, it's more indirect. It's about, I think, giving value, creating something that's more engaging, and then, yeah, and like we're learning this as we go as well. I think like it's not like our channel is super successful.
100%.
Like we're super new, but I think,
yeah, marketing is a learning curve, 100%. You adjust as you market.
yeah.
Put a reel up, see how it does. If it does decent, put another one up just like it. Change it a little bit, see how many views that gets. If you want to, say, okay, well, these aren't really working. What if I just take video of myself? Try everything out, every single idea you can. If you think it's creative, if you think it's fun, do it. You can delete it later. You can take down an article. You can take down a post, right? So it's not going to hurt you. If anything, the more content you put out, the better. But I also say there's a very common trend these days to just produce bulk content and push it out. But make sure that you're producing bulk content that has some type of quality.
Yeah.
It's not just super scripted, it's not just super dry, it's not just a sales pitch, right? Be quirky, be funny, don't teach, educate.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. It was lovely having you guys here.